Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Split Screen Gamers, where a couple nerds talk about video games. And today, we got a lot on the list. We're going to recap the Summer Games Fest, the Xbox Showcase, bro. And we're going to do a little bit of state of play from PlayStation as well, bro. Look, last weekend was absolutely bonkers. We got I don't know, for the longest time, I feel like we didn't have a crazy, since E3, honestly, we haven't had a crazy like show or set of shows that presented something that got me super excited. But last weekend, that definitely happened. That and much more on this episode of Split Screen Gamers. Now get your tea ready, put your headphones on, and let's get active.
Your weekly power-up of video game news, updates, and industry buzz. From blockbuster releases and indie gems to hardware drops, studio shakeups, and everything in between, we break it all down. This is Split Screen Gamers.
What's up, boys?
What's up?
How you guys doing?
Man, what's up?
Good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yo, I gotta turn my mic down. Actually, I just realized I'm peaking super loud, bro. So sorry for the listeners who are tuning in and your eardrums just exploded on impact. I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know why you yelled directly into the mic, but we have a lot to. I just did it again. Sorry. Don't sue us. We have a lot to talk about, man. We got the last weekend. If you didn't check it out, we on our channel and our podcast, Split Screen Gamers, we reacted to the Summer Games Fest, the Xbox Showcase, and we did a state of play as well. It was super duper fun. Lots of cool releases are out. Lots of cool games were announced. Lots of cool people on stage. It was just a really fun time for gamers. And so we're going to recap a lot of what we've seen and most of the big things that we've seen and some of our favorites as well, because there's way too much to do in one episode. And some of those games are pretty new and there's not a lot of information on them. But let's start with the biggest one. I think, personally, Xbox jumping into the portable world is pretty freaking huge, because it's okay. Like, it's one thing for like, because the Ally from, I think it's Asus, has been around for a while, but like no one's really looking for it. The Steam Deck, it's not insanely popular, but Xbox is a popular name. Yeah. So if you didn't know, Xbox had a crazy direct. I think it was the best. They had a crazy direct with some crazy visuals, and they had tons of releases, and they came out with this thing called the Xbox Ally. It's called ROG Xbox Ally. It's a collaboration with Asus ROG, and yeah, they came out. It's the new Xbox portable. We're not getting PlayStation Portable, unfortunately, not since PSP or the Remote Play. But Xbox, I mean, that thing looks sick, super dope. Has these glass embezzlements. But yeah, they came out, and the biggest thing about it was that they had this one statement that stood the test of time throughout the entire direct, which was that any game that they showcase, which were a lot were really looked really freaking cool, was going to be playable on the Xbox Ally, which is absolutely insane. Okay, so release date is to be determined. We do have a set of specs on this thing, but before we get into that, what do you guys think about that, guy? Like, is that something you're gonna pick up? Like, what are you guys feeling? Like, I know we're not Xbox players, but like, this is kind of huge.
Dude,
well, definitely no.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Chris. I had a feeling he was gonna say no, like I because he's not an Xbox guy.
Really?
So yeah, Chris is not an Xbox man. So
yeah, he's born and bred PlayStation.
Born and bred, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like portable was inevitable. You gotta kind of jump on that train. I know we've even discussed like the relevancy that some may say about Xbox. So I could see this being like, maybe that's kind of their attempt to, create something new, get more people
into the ecosystem
and involved.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm debating right now, because on one hand I'm like, oh, cool, it's just like a Steam Deck, but for like, coming from Microsoft and Xbox, and like you get their like library, you get access to like Xbox Game Pass, you get like access to like the Battle.net and like a bunch of Activision games. It's like a mini PC, like a remote PC, like in your hand and whatnot. Even though, I mean, when you think about it, like our phones are kind of like that too, but that's for something else.
It was funny you say that, because they made the claim, they kind of hinted at the claim that any Windows phone would also be able to support any of these games. Remember, they were like,
really?
It's also
really?
Well, no, actually, that was Linus Tech Tips who was doing that, because I watched the video, his breakdown on it, and he was like, it's playable on this, and he pulled up an Xbox, and then he pulled up another Xbox, and he pulled up the Ally, the portable, and then he pulled up a Windows phone. So I don't know, they didn't promote that a lot, probably because it doesn't have they're trying to sell this new console, and the Windows Phone doesn't have the freaking AMZ Ryzen chip in it, which is insane. Now, Chris, I don't know if you looked into it at all, but the Xbox Ally is like, it's not some like little baby thing. It's a Steam Deck with some extra stuff in it, bro. Let me read off some of these specs and see if your heart changes at all. First of all, every game that they announced at the showcase they said is going to be playable, and it includes a download. It's a version that you play on the Ally, or you can play it via the cloud, and you have access to a Windows 11 OS. So it's not like it's a PC in your hand, but it's not like it has crazy specs, bro. Let me read it off to you. You're gonna be pretty surprised. And when I looked this up, I was like, bro, okay, so you have two different versions. Two different versions. You have a ROG Xbox Ally X, and then you have the ROG Xbox Ally. So the X is the let's see, I think that's the more expensive version. The way they got this flipped on here is weird. But dude, it has an AMD Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme processor, which is just a really good processor. It's like top of the line for handheld gaming. 24 gigabytes of RAM on I'm just gonna read the top one off for you. 1 terabyte of internal SSD, which is insane. Has a 7 Full HD 1080p IPS 500 nits 16:9 monitor with 120 hertz refresh rate, and all the glorious Glass Victus stuff that we don't know, but it's a good display rate. It has USB-C ports. It has obviously Wi-Fi, all that, and it comes with a charger, and it has 80 watt hours of, I guess, battery. So the battery's probably going to be crap, but it's a PC in your hand. Now look, you're not going to play Red Dead Redemption 2 full spec on it. That's not what it is. But you're also not going to get an incredibly downgraded game. You can actually enjoy the game, and if you're like me, and it's like there's certain games you want to go like enjoy, like GTA with the fullest of quality, cool, because you want to see the best of the people do it. But if you're like, if it's Helldivers, which is Helldivers is only is it both
PS5?
Yeah,
it's only PS5, and then it's also on a PC for Steam.
Right. Like, well, even like PC, like I'm not trying to, even though Helldivers looks great, it's a game that's like fun for different reasons, and it's like, okay, I'm not trying to get the visual galore out of it. I'm just gonna play this on the plane, and so that is what this one does. It's super cool design. Man, to me, the price is the determining factor, I think, because I think it's going to be anywhere from $800 to $900. Like, it's going to be it's their new console. I think that Xbox, and I think you said it perfect. That's the name for it. I always call it this like balance between AAA and indie titles, but it's AA games. They're kind of specializing in this AA game world, and they are fully capitalizing on that by creating a console that can handle both AAA titles at a more downgraded level, but AA games at the highest, probably at the best intensity it can play at. So yeah,
with a remote device too, which I know you mentioned, like, bad, like, battery life and whatnot. Funny enough, I just got done watching a video about how shitty the Switch 2 battery life is right now and whatnot.
Oh,
so
really?
With it's terrible, dude. It's awful. And like with like the rise of like more of these like handheld, like high power, like, essentially like PCs in your hand and whatnot, we're gonna see like that steady like circulation of just like news about how bad and poor the battery life is for all these like handhelds and whatnot. So I wanted to point that out, that whenever you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, that's a common denominator with like all these handhelds and whatnot. But it's crazy how much power you can pack into these things, dude. Yes, it's insane. That's like the remarkable thing about like all these like handheld consoles. But it's just like the punch that they can like have when like processing like these AAA, AA, or independent games like is truly incredible. It's awesome, honestly, and I do understand why people buy these, because they can be on the go and like download these games and like play like Assassin's Creed, like the newest Assassin's Creed, on an airplane after they got done downloading it and whatnot. And like it's just crazy. Cool that it's insane. It's almost the future, other than AI, but it's almost the future, y'all.
Let me say this: the Chris, you're a fan of like horror games, and I'm sure you like some indie titles. I think the best thing about the Xbox ROG is you get a unified game library. So that to me is huge, because I use Steam I play games on this channel, horror games, and it's always on Steam. But you can get Steam library, and it's unified. It all comes up in one area. You get the Steam store. You get the Epic Game Store. You could probably get that Rockstar store that they have, and it's a Windows 11 PC and a portable unit. So that is super cool. I think it's not a complaint. The look, battery has always been a problem within phones, with anything that's handheld, because energy is just such a hard thing to make, and so that makes sense. But like, I feel this isn't a negative thing at all. It's like, I feel like that was Xbox's most reasonable direction, was to go towards something portable. They make a lot of their in-house studio is making a lot of games that are built for portable. They're making a Nemo game. They're making these, what's that game I'm tripping right now? Outer Worlds. Like, these aren't super graphically heavy games that are like changing the landscape in terms of graphical fidelity and frame rate. It's like, no, that's not what they're doing. So it's like, this is perfect for me as a non-Xbox player. This is a perfect way to get me into the ecosystem, because when I want to go and be home and play these crazy games that are coming from PlayStation Studios, which I think they're going to take over the AAA space, other than some other people, other like third-party developers, then I'll go play that on my PlayStation, and I'm going to love it because PlayStation is awesome. But when I want to go and I want to play freaking, Obsidian games, it's like, cool. Like, that's where I'm going. I want to play Steam on the go. I don't want to record a video. I'm on the plane. I want to do a review on the channel. I'm going to play it on the plane. Like, but while I got some extra time, it's perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. And David, when you do pick this up, bro, give us your review, because this single device might honestly get me back into the Xbox ecosystem, because I was a big 360 guy back in the day, and then Microsoft totally shit the bed whenever they announced the Xbox One, and long story short, it's just they haven't recuperated that ever since. So it's just tarnished their reputation. But hopefully they can like price this at a reasonable price point. Now I feel like what you said earlier, I could see it being 800. I could dead ass see it being 800,
which is the console price, which is crazy, honestly.
Yeah, for a handheld device, and that's more than the PS5 that I got, dude. I mean, that's way more.
Yeah, which is crazy.
So like, whenever they announce that, bro, and if you get it, please let us know, because I would love to like get your thoughts on it and whether or not it would be like a decider in like going back to Xbox. So
yeah, well, that's my only delay is the price. But look, we don't have much more information on it. We know that that's what they're doing right now. It's going to come out. Who knows when? Probably before the holiday season. It looks like it looks by the advertisements that it's almost ready to roll out, because they're like, we got games that are being developed on it, and it's like, cool. And some of those games were coming out this year, so I bet they're not releasing the price yet, just because they don't want to. It's going to be higher than what people want, and so that's what it's going to be. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Xbox Alley's coming out at some point. When we pick it up, if we do, I don't know if I want to spend $800 on it. That's what I said. Like, this determining factor between me, it's like, and getting it and not is just, it's $800. It's like kind of crazy, but we'll see.
Because you're also like trying to just decipher like how much time you're actually going to put on it.
And it's like a PS5 Pro is coming out. It's like, if I'm going to spend money on a gaming system, I'm going to get the PS5 Pro, and that even feels like a crazy upgrade to get, because I don't really care about that. But no, we'll see. Yeah. But yeah, one thing I might just get the freaking Xbox Alley is because, and this is huge, Chris. I don't know if you watched the trailer, but they tricked us to the very end. Resonance, A Plague Tale Legacy, dude. Mm-hmm. Plague Tale Legacy from the same studio, Asobo Studios. It's not officially confirmed.
I watched it immediately when you told me.
Did you? Oh, what'd you think?
That looks amazing. Like, it was that was certainly a series I was not expecting to continue. So that was certainly an announcement that I was not expecting whatsoever, and very intrigued with where they're taking it.
I'm very happy about that.
Tell that the second game ends at like a good point, or I don't want spoilers because
I'm not saying nothing.
I haven't played it. You guys, oh my god.
The story felt completed in the second game. Let me
Okay.
say that. So I wasn't expecting them to continue it.
If it
Gotcha.
completed
But
anything,
the
it was my full circle moment of depression that I was going. But yeah, I'm not trying to get any
Yeah,
spoilers.
No, I'm glad they have Sophia. She's from second game.
Okay.
You know, bringing a familiar character that we do know, but also not following. I'm saying I like the game. I'm going to say her name wrong. Amicia.
Something like Amicia. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like Amicia was obviously our central character in the first two, so naturally you would think, would it follow her again? But I could also see why it wouldn't. So it's interesting that it's a prequel following Sophia, exploring more of that. Obviously, it's such a beautiful looking trailer. Both 1 and 2 are beautiful looking games. I feel like they're so story first, story heavy, you know, all about developing characters, exploring this world. I think it's it sounds like it's gonna be really amazing. I'm really excited. What a nice surprise. And I feel like they wouldn't do it if they didn't really have like a good story and concept that they want to pursue with it.
Yeah.
So I like that. At least I'm hoping that is the case. Is that they're doing it on like their own accord. They are crack the code for the next story.
Right.
You know, it's something they're passionate about. So that makes me ultimately excited about it. And yeah, I can't wait. That's like a first day buy for sure.
Oh,
and I don't say that
100%.
a lot, but this one absolutely.
Well, it's because, you know, they've set themselves in a certain place within the gaming sphere, which is like, it's like, you know, you're getting something pretty remarkable from that studio. And that director, and they didn't confirm it, but Kevin Chateau's probably going to come back. It's his story. He seems very passionate about it. And look, the thing is, I wonder where the future of Sobo Studios is going to go, because my biggest complaint is that they've made these visually stunning games. They're really cool. They have really great stories, but they always kind of lack in gameplay. That's where they fall short a little bit. It's like the mechanics and the gameplay and just overall logistical part of things that make a game have always been kind of put on the back burner, or it's been, I guess, kind of budget afterthought. I don't know how they do it over there. And so I'm hoping that they're like, yo, with this one, we're going to take it to the next level, because it seems like they might have, after the success of the last two games, garnered some respect and money, and were able to do the big ideas, because the ideas are big. They need big money behind them. So I'm hoping they get that AAA budget to push them over the edge, which puts them on the map, because they have the talent, which is super cool.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're not familiar with this, if you haven't seen the trailer yet, go check it out. But this is set 15 years before Requiem, which is the first game. You play as Sophia, a fierce young plunder, which was what Chris was saying. Determined to uncover the secrets of her past, her journey leads to the mythic Minotaur's Island. Apparently, she's going to run into some crazy Minotaur. Who knows? No one really knows. It's probably not even... people are just speculating at this point. There's going to be tons of cool stuff. If you haven't played any of the games from Kevin and the team over at Asobo, Chandler, for example.
Yeah, I haven't played it. Just raising my hand.
Which you should, by the way.
I should.
Yeah.
I should. Like,
You absolutely
100%. Those games look incredible. And, like, what you guys have said, like, the story's, like, really compelling. And, like, it's fantastic. And, like, that's, like, a series I really want to get into. Their games, like, just seeing, like, what I've seen from their games, they kind of remind me of a certain game that Xbox, like, has released, like, exclusive to the Xbox. I can't remember the name. I should know the name by now, but you're basically, like, this, like, I think she's like a Viking, maybe, sort of, but it's, like, almost mythological, and it's, like, it's, like, Blade something. I can't remember the
Hellblade?
name, but I think it's Hellblade. I think it's, there's two of them and whatnot, but their games kind of remind me of, like, theirs and whatnot.
You're not talking about Suana's Sacrifice, are you?
Maybe.
You're talking about you're not talking about Hellblade. You're talking about hold on. Yeah, it's a.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they're permadeath.
Yeah,
Yes.
and she's like female. She's a female protagonist, and like they use like
Hold on, it's Hell something.
It's Hell something. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But
Duck.
like those Plagues games reminds me of like that franchise, that series. But like I guess
Hellblade. Yeah, Hellblade.
Yes.
Senua's Sacrifice. I played a little bit of that. That game is also very dark.
Yes,
and it's permadeath too, which it's not my style. I hate the fact that I have to restart. But yes, I can see how you could draw parallels between those two
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
And
like,
Plague Tale's also like extra special because when Dave and I were like first kind of talking, first we connected over Last of Us, of course. I remember like going back and forth with you about Last of Us, and then A Plague Tale was also like one of those like, oh, you like that one too?
Which is funny because
So, like,
A Plague Tale Requiem was not popular. That was what was. That's
No,
what made
no,
it.
not at all.
I found
no,
it by
I
chance
was-
on
yeah.
Steam. So
Really?
for us to connect over that, I was like, "What? You've played this game?"
Yeah,
Like,
it was
what-
kind of like the obscure kind of title to be like, whoa,
Yeah.
you play that too? Really?
Exactly. It's
such
almost
a
like
great-
it's like me when me and Chandler connected over hentai. It was like, yo, you watched that
yeah,
too?
yeah,
Like,
literally.
no, I'm joking.
Yeah, no tentacles, bro. Nah, same here.
Such a great broment, if you will.
It's a broment.
Yeah,
that's
facts.
that's a term. That's a term. So would you guys say like this franchise is more niche than like mainstream and
Oh,
whatnot?
100%.
Like
yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I figured
100%, bro. I think it's about as I think you play more niche games for sure. Like, which is, some of the games you play are actually way more niche. But Plague Tale, I think it has it draws people in from the graphical fidelity. It looks like a AAA game, and then you get in and you understand it's indie kind of because the mechanics aren't up to play. But the story kind of eliminates all that. You get so enthralled with what's happening in the lore of it all that very quickly you're like, I just care about these characters. And so anybody who's interested in picking up Resonance when it drops, it comes out in 2026, then definitely go back and play Requiem and Innocence because you will not be disappointed. Absolutely. It's
can't
freaky,
recommend
scary,
enough.
horrific, and it connected me and Chris, so it's worth it.
Yes, that's the most important part.
Facts. There's a lot of horror announced, actually, which is
Tons.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
which
that-
is crazy.
let's
It's
go.
like October. Were some of these releases August?
I think so. Most of these were like around August, September, October, November. So those 4 months, which is perfect because that's usually like the fall season and whatnot. So 100%. I mean, I'm all for that. So it's good marketing on their part, and it's fall, and that's closer to Halloween and whatnot. But dudes, Silent Hill, like seeing more gameplay on that, dudes.
Yeah, the infamous, long-awaited. I feel like every couple months, Chandler and I would be like, "What happened with Silent Hill F? I wonder if
I know.
we're gonna."
So you guys had heard about that already?
Yeah. They.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So let me explain backstory, David. So, Silent Hill F was and Chris knows this too, but Silent Hill F was announced like I think about 2 years ago, almost maybe three. And so Konami did these like little Nintendo Direct state of plays where they had their own little presentations and whatnot, and they were called like Silent Hill Transmissions. And basically those like special videos or announcement videos, presentation, whatnot, those kinds of videos were strictly focusing on the Silent Hill franchise and what games are being developed.
Yeah.
So they did this one transmission about 3 years ago where they announced Silent Hill 2 Remake, which was a big deal. Me and Chris were like, oh my God. And then they announced like 2 other Silent Hill games that one of them's being made with a Bad Robot, J.J. Abrams
really?
company. Yeah, J.J.
It was a
Abrams
wild
company.
announcement when you look back at it. Like
Yo.
that was a crazy announcement when they did that.
Yeah.
And then all the games kind of went silent.
Yeah,
For a
literally.
while, too.
Pun.
Yeah.
Oh my
Until
God.
Silent Hill 2 eventually was the one that like kind of reappeared
Yeah.
first.
Wait, didn't they
Yeah.
just do a Silent Hill remake though? Like recently?
Yeah, Silent Hill 2
Yeah.
remake.
Oh, that's
Me and
okay.
Chris
Got
actually.
you. Yeah, that game looked crazy.
Yeah. Dude, it was me and Chris. I still remember this. We were playing it at the same time and whatnot, and like we were like telling each other like where we were at in the game and like all like our like critiques and whatnot and like things we love, things we didn't like and whatnot. And the one thing we both unanimously agree upon is the fact that the game's damn too long. It's
Is it?
20 hours. Yes, it's 20 hours
Yeah,
of
it was
horror.
it's a beast
Yeah.
to get through. That's
It
it.
is.
But
And it's-
isn't like Resident Evil much longer though?
Nah, it depends. Like it really depends. I
Village
know
seems so long for some reason. I don't know why. Like,
for
I think the
like,
tension makes
yeah,
it
maybe it's
feel
the heart
long.
attack
Yes.
in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, not to like cut through this, but basically, Transmission also they announced Silent Hill F, which I don't know about you, Chris, but out of all the games that they announced during that video, F always seemed the most interesting to me because.
Yeah, 100%.
One, it takes place in like Japan, which is the first one out of the entire series to do so, and two, it just looks creepy as fuck. It's just creepy. It's
Japanese people just can make the scariest stuff for some reason, bro. And
They can.
I don't know
Apparently-
how they do it.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. I think it's because of their culture, because a lot of their like stories, not all of them, but like a good chunk of their stories like center around like the supernatural and death. And I think that like in itself, because when you think of a horror movie, you think of like somebody dying and whatnot.
Yeah,
so,
truly, it's scary.
And like
yeah.
and that's a terrifying thing. A lot of people fear it. So I think that has played a huge part in like how a lot of these Japanese storytellers tell their like horror stories in a way. So
They do it in a way that's like, there's something about the contrast of peaceful Japan too that like sometimes it makes the horror seem that much more contrasting. I don't know what it is. It's like I see this beautiful. I love Japan. And it's like I see this beautiful architecture, and then it's like a damn demonic pale child like in The Grudge, and I'm like, like it's like the most terrifying thing I've seen in my life,
dude.
I don't know what it is about that. Okay, so break it down for me though, like, because someone who's I know about Silent Hill because it's a classic, right? But I've never played a Silent Hill game ever in my life. I've only watched people play them because I like watching it, and I know that I can't withstand it, like just the way my bowels are set up. But I'm curious, like, how do you guys see the Silent Hill thing adapting to Japan? Because isn't the Silent Hill based around the city, the game based around the city Silent Hill or something like that? Or how's that work?
There's the town Silent Hill.
Yeah.
in based in America, obviously, that it's usually based around. They've kind of ventured a little bit in sequels where you journey into different towns. Like Silent Hill, the town might be a part of the game, but also there tend to be other towns you can explore. But they're all kind of like that same rural, decrepit kind of setting.
It seems like it's more like The Fog now. When the fog descends, it's like now it's Silent Hill is taking over or something. That's what it feels like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the fog's definitely like it's like visual, cornerstone
Motif.
that I think everyone can relate to it.
Which fun fact about that, in the first game, so the fog in the first game, they had to do that because like the PS1 like graphical capabilities of rendering like backgrounds was impossible. So in order to like A, make the environment look scary, but B, to like do like a workaround was to add like a fog element. So that's why there's fog in Silent Hill.
That's actually super clever, and I've heard that before too, and I think that's super cool that they almost accidentally made such an eerie presence by doing that. Look, I was here's the thing about Silent Hill is that there's one game that I actually did play, and I forgot when I was saying that. I was like, oh wait, I know I've played one, and I don't know if it's just not as popular, the reason no one talks about a remake or anything, but I remember that scaring the crap out of me when I was a kid. And you're gonna know exactly which one I'm talking about when I describe why it scared the crap out of me. But there is it was like you're in a room, and there's like a peephole, and you look through that peephole, and like things change throughout the game when you look through the peephole. I think it's literally called Silent Hill: The Room.
Yeah, that's Silent Hill 4: The Room. You're right.
That game.
And you're right. It is very creepy.
I don't know
very creepy.
what it is about that game.
Yeah.
But I do kind of know. It's the fact that the room changes. It's like you feel like you have, like they do this thing which I think is very clever from a developer standpoint, which is like they give you a room that is supposed to be your safe place, and then they make it completely unsafe. And that type of stuff ruins me. Horror games that give you no safe place ruin me. I hate it. I need somewhere to unclench my balls when I'm playing the game. So it's like I can't be doing.
And they force you like into a POV. When you're in those segments of the game too.
Do they?
Because most of the game is third person, but when you're back in the room, the apartment, go back to first person, which is interesting, and that's how you can go look through the people and stuff, and hear the neighbors and outside interaction.
Freaky.
But then as you're doing that, your apartment is also like changing, getting more like decrepit and Silent Hill-y.
I hate that. I hate that, and I wish they would remake that one because that one, I feel like a modern day audience would be awesome. And is that's the one where you? I could be wrong. It could be 2, but is that eventually you like walk out and you see the twins? Is that part? I think Silent Hill is like the twins, those like conjoined twins that like try to kill you or whatever.
That's Silent Hill 4.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Can't forget that.
Wait, bro. I'm sorry. I'm way more knowledgeable about Silent Hill than I thought, baby.
Yeah,
Let's go, dude.
The more you know, bro. Yeah, dude. No,
let's
100%.
go. Or I just like horror stuff and I'm decrepit and need help. Either one though. It's like, if it was right, it's cool. Sweet, thanks. So Silent Hill, freaking is coming out. Silent Hill F, set in Japan. If you didn't know, it's coming out September 24th, which is crazy. That's literally a couple months away.
Yep.
It's developed by Konami as expected, directed by AI Yang, and dude, it's AI Yang. I can't believe I called that man AI Yang. His name is I don't know how to say his first name, but
I mean when you see it, you immediately say that like
AI Yang.
You're not AI Yang, dude.
Dude, I bet that's like the most Brad Pitt and Inglourious Basterds pronunciation that you can make. We direct by AI Yang. It's like, come on, Buongiorno. Yo, it's set in 1960 Japan. Teenager Shimuzi Hanako lives a quiet life in a remote town of Ubusungamaki until a thick cursed fog descends. Suddenly, the town becomes a twisted nightmare.
David.
Sorry, so you have to fend off a bunch of niggas. You gotta kill a bunch of niggas. You gotta be scared at the end of the time. So just get ready. It's gonna be scary.
I did not say that.
We did not say that.
We did not say that.
We did not say that. Somebody watches.
When you play
somebody
Silent Hill,
watch this video, bro. Like somebody watches this video and instead of like they getting mad at you, David, they get mad at us because
they're just listening to the audio version. Yo, when I'm telling you, when Silent Hill F comes out, bro, we're getting a bunch of wave caps, do rags. We're wearing them. We're gonna play Silent Hill F in the hood. Are y'all down for that?
Yeah, dude.
Cool.
Bro, I just think of Leprechaun in the Hood. I don't know if y'all ever saw that movie.
Yes, it's a classic.
I'm definitely gonna
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say I'm definitely gonna throw out a vote, and viewers comment also. Viewers of your channel, especially. I'm voting that I think I need to see you play the Silent Hill 2 remake on your channel.
Oh, you should.
I think that would
be
you should. You don't have to play the whole thing, but I think you need to get a little something. Go in blind.
That makes me not want to play a little something. Go in blind. No,
David, you will hate
something.
David, you will hate the mannequins. By the way, when you start playing, you will hate the mannequins. Trust me. But like, dude, just play it, please. Please.
I might play it just for the culture because look, you can't be a horror gamer and not play Silent Hill. So, unfortunately, by nature of creating this channel, I've signed myself up for Resident Evil, Silent Hill, and God forbid another Outlast. So, we'll see.
My God.
We'll see.
Outlast Trials. Here we go.
I can do Trials if I'm with y'all because there's comfort in hearing both of you guys' voices. It's the Outlast games where I'm just running and panic and hiding with no defense that terrifying me to death. But
you'll hear me cry. Yeah.
Let's take a break, man. Chris, did you hear about the Atomic Heart, bro? Do you see that? You were there.
I did.
Yeah.
Very cool looking trailer. Beautiful looking world. A series I was not familiar with at first. I kind of was watching it like not knowing, what this is.
Yeah.
Definitely very intriguing. I saw they announced that as well as the Cube, which I guess is kind of like an expansion on it as well.
Yeah. Did you see how they were doing that too? Chandler kind of put it right. Was it? They're like it seems like some new style of MMO, like that. The world is like changing or something. What was it?
It's kind of like I originally thought it was like a MOBA game because I saw like legions of like NPCs that you can like have on your side, like helping you like kill these enemies. But then the more I started to like rewatch the trailer, it kind of reminds me more of Fortnite now because you're set in this area. It's like a battle royale and whatnot, and like the environment keeps changing, so you're never comfortable in like the setting that you're being put in to like kill the other opponents and whatnot. So I think it's more going to be like a heavy hardcore Fortnite than anything else.
Which I respect.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, 100%. Fortnite's huge.
The thing about Atomic Heart is that that trailer alone made me want to go pick up the first one. Look, someone left a comment on the trailer and said this game looks like they just threw a bunch of crap. It was something like along the lines that they just threw a bunch of crap together and made it fun, and I'm all here for it. And I literally feel the same exact way. When watching that second trailer, I was like, wall running, telekinesis, robotic girls. Like, they had everything that I desire. Those 3 things. And that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous stuff. I'm just waiting for Elon Musk to just catch up. But
dude.
no,
we're praying, bro. We're praying.
No, I think I just
Chris.
No, I just think that Atomic Heart, based off that. I mean, I hope the game is great, but just based off that trailer, it looks awesome, and I want to pick it up just to play it, even for just a couple hours. Please send us a if you're down, send us a whatever you call it. What they got this like code or something so we can play it for free. But if not, it's totally cool. I'll pick it up. We'll play it. It looks super fun, man. And I didn't play the first one. I watched the first couple of hours of someone playing it because I was like, this game looks awesome, and it has the cheekiness and the comedy of Far Cry, which is also a series that I like. But it has
it's
also
like,
the kind of atmosphere aura of it too, with like the sporadicness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like Far Cry meets BioShock, honestly. Like that's what I gathered from the game, honestly, because it's like there's the first person shooter element, there's the RPG like mechanic that they put into the game that's very BioShock-y and like Far Cry-y and whatnot, and there's like the survivalness of Far Cry, and it's just like a good combination. And the art style, or the art style and like the art like direction for like all the structures you see in the game is something that you would see in like Rapture, but like in Russia. Yeah. So I kind of got that feel. I almost
like machine. It's picked like up that game. They call it brutalism.
Yes,
that's what it's called.
Yeah, it's that brutalism from like the 50s and like the 60s and like 40s almost. But I almost picked it up, but then I saw like the first game like getting like okay reviews. It wasn't completely negative, but it was like a 7, some were 8s, and I was like, man, I don't know if I like want to like play this game, because on one hand, like, yeah, I do want to play it, but on the other hand, at the same time, like a bunch of other games were coming out that
how much time do you have to dedicate to a mid game is what you're saying.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's just one of those things. But they just, seeing that trailer, bro, like for the second game, they just like came out like through the roof, bro. They just like guns a-blazing almost. So I'm
no
like,
pun intended.
Damn.
Yeah.
Literally. Like you see so much gun warfare in that game, and I'm like, wow.
You say like, so much underwear?
No, I said gunware.
Oh, okay, like, gotcha. Like Chandler, like.
Yeah,
you were looking at Chandler.
Yeah, you got another tab pulled up, bro. That was called.
Nah.
That was called Atomic Farts.
Atomic Farts.
It's not even a good joke. It's not even a good joke.
No. Nah. You're good, dude.
It's not even a good joke,
bro. We say the darnest things.
I know. We have some of the information here. I just want to make sure people know. Like, so Atomic Heart is Atomic Heart 1 came out. It was like a couple years ago or something like that. I can't remember, but they're coming out with 2, and it's you got to check out the trailer. Go watch the Summer Games Fest. Go check it out. It looks super fun. But I think outside of the story elements in the kind of the world of Atomic Heart 2, I think what's huge for them is they did the cube. And like we talked about it briefly, but one thing, the way that they put it specifically is that it's that the environment is a dynamic they present it's this giant cube with a bunch of, like, it has 4 sides. It's more like a Rubik's cube. You can twist it in many different ways, 4 sides, and they intertwist within each other. And the thing is, it's twisting and stuff while players are on it. So the way that they put it specifically, which I think helped me understand it more, was the environment is a dynamic, ever-shifting battleground, a patchwork of diverse biomes offering unpredictable combat scenarios. And it says it's powered by proprietary split rendering system which handles thousands of moving objects, dynamic gravity, physics, ballistics in real time. And it's a true technological breakthrough. So, look, if we're gonna see like buildings collapsing and things happening in the multiplayer that affect the way that the players interact, that sounds crazy.
That's sick.
You know what I mean? That sounds dope.
Pretty groundbreaking.
I wonder, because when you hear like crazy stuff like that, your mind always goes into like two different directions. Like the more curious, optimistic side where you're like, oh man, that's like really going to be cool and stuff. But then, the other side of your mind is like, how buggy is this going to be? Like, you just think about the glitches, the bugs, and all that other stuff and whatnot. And, like, are they going to, like, surely they will iron out a lot of that, because I want this to succeed, because that could be game changer, no pun intended. But that could be a game changer, So I'm all for that. But we'll have to see, y'all. So
yeah, and the thing is, man, like, we've seen things like this flop before that look amazing.
Yep.
And so, look, probably a large portion of the games announced are going to have a mid-release, unfortunately, and it's going to come out and it's not as good. Atomic Heart looks like a game. Very rarely do I say this. It looks like a game I really want to succeed, because it looks like a game I want to play, and I want it to be good. Much like the factions that we lost for The Last of Us 2. Take a moment of silence for that. Yeah. That being said, let's move on. Rest in peace to them, and I'll never forgive Neil Druckmann and PlayStation for doing that to me, despite despite that being their art, and they can do whatever they want.
So, y'all know I had to put this on here. For starters, like, this was a game that got leaked with a bunch of other games, like hundreds of other games, in the NVIDIA leak that happened, like, I think almost 5 years ago. I think it's been about 5 years. Final Fantasy Tactics HD Remaster, or as they're calling it, Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles, which a lot of people don't know this, but like, with every mainline Final Fantasy game, it's like a reboot. It's like a remake, or I say remake, but it's like a reboot, but like using similar like names and lores and like magic mechanics and like other factors, and always having a character named Sid in the game. So it's like a motif throughout that franchise and whatnot. And like different settings and, of that sort.
And playstyles, right? Mechanics, etc. When you explained that to me the first time, I never knew that about Final Fantasy. I didn't know that it was a reboot with different, like almost a whole different game, but with the same skeleton. I did not know that. That's so cool.
Yeah. It's like, when somebody explains that, you think, oh, it's like a copy and paste. It's like, no, it's not copy and paste. It's like all they're doing is just using, like you were saying, David, they're using the skeleton framework of like certain like, the mythos or like the summons that you can use in the game, or the spells, or like some of the characters' names, and it's just putting them in like the next mainline title. But Tactics is not a mainline title. It is a spinoff. And it's not just any spinoff. It is probably the greatest spinoff in the entire franchise, to the point where when like people like myself and like thousands of millions of other fans around the world are diehard Final Fantasy fans, they put Tactics in their top 10. Now, it's not in my top 10, but it's in a lot of people's top 10. Maybe
really?
Number 1. Yes, it is that good. And it's different. It's not like a turn-based like RPG. It's more of a Fire Emblem-esque like not action RPG, but like real-time like strategy game.
Yeah.
That's like not like hordes of armies, but like certain individual like characters on a map, or on like, like a certain location where you control them, and like they have like different functionalities, like how many spaces they can go before attacking, or like before they get to a target. Things like that.
Yep.
Very Fire Emblem-esque, I would say. But this is a HD remaster, which was one of the games that was on that list of Square Enix titles, which there was a game during this whole Summer Games Fest that we never got to see, which I was hoping, because, man, like the 25th anniversary, everything, Final Fantasy IX Remake, we never got to see that. I know they're making that game. Maybe
they're just not ready
no
yet.
doubt
That's all it is.
They're just not ready. Yeah. They're taking their time, which I appreciate, because I want a well-polished game. I want a game that they respect, that they think should go out in the world or be revealed when the time is right. I appreciate that 100%.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they didn't. I'm glad that they took the time with this HD remaster for Tactics, because it's been about 4 or 5 years, since these NVIDIA leaks and whatnot. And, with an HD remaster, they don't really take that long. But what they have done with this game is that they've added voice acting, which I was just like, oh my god.
Wait, so the original was it just text based?
It was just text based.
So you get like an extra layer of new, like it's just a new experience outside of just an upgraded version. You're getting a new experience. You get the experience. I could only imagine if The Last of Us, didn't have voices or something in the original game, and they came back like, oh yeah, you get the experience now with actors. Like that sounds like a really fun experience.
Yeah. You get a full voice cast now, and the cool part is there's the enhanced version in this HD remaster where that has the voice actors, but they added the classic version where you can switch and go back to like the OG version, which I'm like, thank you, Square Enix, because a lot of people love that you can switch back and forth and whatnot. Another game that did that was Grand Fandango, which it was voice acted and everything, but the cool thing is No, Grand Fandango. It was a point and click adventure, David. It was a point and click adventure where you play as a Manny and he was a skeleton in the underworld, and it was really cool.
Some of the guys, it was a cartoon.
Yeah, it's like cartoonish. Tim Schafer made that game, the same guy who made Psychonauts. Yeah, but the cool thing about the Grand Fandango HD remaster is like with I think it was R3 or L3, but like if you click on that, it switches in real time to like the old like 90s graphics. It was really cool.
Yeah,
really cool. But going back to Final Fantasy, the reason why this is in a lot of people's top 10s or top 5s or number 1 of all time is the story. It's just fantastic. Good? It is that good. It is so good. It is so good. I'll just read it for you guys. It follows the death of the king. A mere boy of 2 ascends the throne. That means whoever is named regent essentially rules the land. 2 dukes via for the position, Gautolin. I'm going to butcher these names, by the way. Gautolin, the Black Lion, and Large, the White Lion. These powerful figures are destined to clash, and the resulting conflict would become known as the War of the Lions. And that's the name of, the war that, took place during this whole game and whatnot. And it's very Game of Thrones-esque.
Now, is it turn based?
Yes. It's like a real time turn based game. Like you do take turns, you do sort through items and whatnot. It's Final Fantasy in essence, but the gameplay is completely different.
I see. So it still follows that.
I
see. I see you put here that it's the original director too, which is I feel like that's a huge. That's a huge thing.
Yeah, it's
because you get a lot of these remakes where it's like some other studio or something does it and they put another director, but it's like which is okay if they do it right. But like if you have the original director, he or she's gonna be putting their heart and soul into that project.
Great time for it.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. And not just the original director. I didn't put this, but it's going to be the original scenario writer for the game, and it's going to be the original art director and character designer. Which I'm like, here we go, a team. You were saying, David, it is very rare for a HD remaster to bring over the original crew from the OG. So I'm like, okay, because other than Final Fantasy IX, Tactics is one of those other Final Fantasy games that the company as a whole really appreciates. They love that game. They loved when it was being developed. They had a good time with it, all that sort of stuff. So, which is something a lot of studios don't ever mention whenever they're talking about game design. It's like, oh man, we really had a great time with this. Square Enix is one of those game studios that really will say when they really love a game that they develop. Yeah. They'll put that out there and what.
Well, hey, dude. I don't play Final Fantasy. It's not my style of game, but I love, I always say on this podcast, I love that these games are being made because there's, like you said, people's top 5 number 1 game. They're getting a remake, and they're not just doing a copy and paste remake just for the bread, which we see a lot of remasters in modern day stuff. Mm-hmm. And I even sometimes think Naughty Dog is guilty of this, just making these remasters every console. And it's that's 100%. probably a push from PlayStation or whatever. But whatever. Anyways, regardless, it's getting a upgraded game in addition to that, you're getting a new experience with voice actors, sometimes gameplay mechanics, etc. So that's super cool. Now we have a lot to talk about, so we can't stay for too long. And look, Chris, I know you've been dying to talk about Resident Evil 9, and I know the people listening have for sure been interested in hearing our opinions. So what do we got, bro? This reveal is huge. Tell us about it.
Yeah, they kind of tricked us in the announcement because they were celebrating the anniversary of the first Resident Evil, and they were like, "We're working on it. We'll get back to you soon." And then what was the biggest, reveal at the end of the Summer Games Fest was Resident Evil. So huge shocker. I feel like we were getting to that point of like they've got to be saying it soon. Like we got to be getting there. So that was one hell of a reveal for sure. Resident Evil to me, that's like, I played the first one back. I don't want to say how old I am, but I'm that old where I was playing the first one when it was like, when it was like
You're
new.
young, bro. You're young.
I remember the lady at Blockbuster telling my dad that I might get scared from the game.
You just told your age with Blockbuster, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying though?
Whoops.
So I will, Resident Evil certainly, much like Silent Hill, there are amazing versions of it, and then there are some duds. It's certainly been a roller coaster of a series. But I feel like once they kind of started back up with Resident Evil 7, they've been kind of finding their footing again, going back to that horror element. I think that's why 7 was such like a groundbreaking thing when it came out and really revitalized the series when they were kind of at a low point, honestly. And then, although 8...
Was that Biohazard?
Probably... so 7 was Biohazard.
Yeah, okay.
And then Resident Evil 8 was Village.
Right, okay.
Village continued the story from 7, but I would say it was a bit more action-oriented and less of a, hide and seek, navigating a creepy farmhouse or whatever. So
which was
I'm
terrifying.
curious. So I was curious what they were going to be doing with 9. Like, are we going to kind of carry that action element, kind of like what 8 did, what like 5 did, what 4 does, or is it going to be more like 7 or like the first game where it's very, low on supplies, creeping through these environments, anything can jump out at you. And I would think, at least based on what I was seeing from the Resident Evil 9 trailer, it seems more in that element. It definitely was very like horror-oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems very...
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Finish up. My bad.
It definitely seems like, they are, bringing us into this like very dark, nightmarish world where it's like you are probably feeling like this, venturing into this with this new character. I definitely feel like they are going for like, kind of like that nightmarish essence that the series kind of can really bring. Yeah. It was certainly, I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know if I was expecting that. I felt like they could kind of do anything with it, and I'm glad that they are, jumping into something new, introducing new characters. Obviously there's always the part of us that wants, Jill or Chris or Leon or whoever to come back, and they might. You never know.
Yeah.
They certainly have surprised us with that before.
Yeah.
But I really think the direction they're going with it seems very, very intriguing, and I'm really excited to, learn more about it. Very, very surprising reveal. Loved everything about it. I don't want to sound like too much of a fanboy gamer simp, but at least with this one, I was like,
if you're gonna simp over, if you're gonna simp over anything, dude, simp over Resident Evil. And the thing is, you brought something to my attention when you were saying that right there, like, which is that's something I didn't think about, which is you're right. Biohazard was more of a run and hide, while Village was much more action packed, which is so interesting. That what a risky thing to do from Capcom, because it's like they're taking Biohazard. You're right. When that came onto the scene, I remember everyone was talking about. I was like, "Yo, the new Resident Evil game is not what you expect at all."
I couldn't play it, dude. I couldn't play it at all.
Super scary. The freaking DLC where you had to like get away from the grandma or whatever that came out was so freaking scary. Like the dad in the garage scene, scary. All of it very scary. The mom, scary. It was all scary. Terrifying game.
It
go ahead.
revitalized the franchise. It just
Revitalized it, and for them to go, okay,
Yeah.
we're not going to make another game, and this one's going to be action packed, and you're going to have to get upgrade stuff, and like you see that it was very, very different in that regard, and I'm like, that is so bold of them to do. They're very, very honest in what type of games they want to make. Hopefully, because it does say that this is a return to Raccoon City. Hopefully.
Yeah.
We're going to get the best of both worlds. Maybe Capcom was like, kind of testing the waters there and going, hey, like, what do the people want? Do they want this new style? Because Biohazard they're playing into the modern horror trope, right? Which is to make a run and hide game. And then with that one, they're going back to their roots a little bit. Now, if they can combine those two, that's where we get something more synonymous with originality of Resident Evil as a whole. It used to have these elements, you know what I mean? Running from Nemesis and fighting Nemesis was a part of the game. You know what I mean? And so it's like that if they can combine that too, and the fact that, look, it does seem like what it says, we're focusing on Grace Ashcroft, and she's investigating a series of murders at the Redwood Hotel, the same location where her mother was murdered. So like obviously we're getting, a hotel is a huge area, so if they can, Village was way bigger. You had different locations, different boss battles, etc. It's like if we can get this combination to where, maybe we're in an outside location around the hotel, but also the hotel. Hotels can be huge, and these games they're kind of like they'll make you look at it from the outside, it's not that big, but then you get in, and it's like damn infinite. So, I think you're right to think that, but I think if I was to make a guess, people love both of those games. You're going to be able to do both because she's an FBI agent for one, so she's trained, right? Yes. And then for two, she's someone dealing with her past. So she's in a hotel where her mom was murdered. So that's probably going to be terrifying. Let's be honest. That's freaking scary.
That's psychological horror element of it.
Yeah.
The drama of it.
Yeah, the drama. 100%. We love the drama. It's like Love Island, if Love Island was a horror game. Yeah, I love the drama.
Yeah. Literally, dude. It's like Ripley from Aliens with the xenomorph, bro.
Yeah, why they make the xenomorph so thick though in that game?
Dude, I know, right? It's like Jesus, like
all that you got all that alien cheeks just bouncing around. I'm trying to get away. I can't. Every time he runs, I'm like, bro, like, can I hide?
Yeah. Plus, it has a tail too, so those cheeks even bigger. I'm just saying,
I know
it's longer and bigger, dog.
Pause. Okay, pause, bro.
I'm just saying. We can go down this rabbit hole. I'm fine.
That's gonna be a huge one, bro. Pause again. I don't know what's wrong with our language right now, but that's gonna be a very big game. February 27th is when we're getting it. 2026, which is kind of a long wait. I wish we kind of got it. I wish they were able to push it up to like compete with
I'm honestly
Silent Hill, but
happy that they sorry to cut you off, David.
You're good.
I'm honestly happy that they even gave us a release date because
Facts.
so rarely do we ever get that. Yeah, like so rarely do we even get that. We get a year, and then that year might change because that's just how the industry works and whatnot, and games aren't ready yet. So 100%. But I wanted to point out, Chris, you mentioned how a lot of people were hoping that we would see like Leon or Claire or Jill or Chris. There was a hell of a bunch of leaks that RE9 was supposed to be a Leon Kennedy game.
I remember hearing that, yeah.
Like
really?
A hell of a lot of leaks. Yes, a hell of a lot of leaks. It was supposed to be a Leon S. Kennedy game, but for what reason they didn't go for that. Now, theory time. Just a wild card.
Yep.
I think this might be a Psycho-like dilemma, like a Psycho-like situation where, spoilers for a movie that came out in the 60s, but we follow this one character to the hotel and she gets killed, and then we follow this other character for the remainder of the movie. That might happen with so and so in the game. Who knows? That's just my wild theory.
That would be really cool if they did that. Now tell me if I'm wrong. What were the Leon and who was it?
Claire Redfield.
Leon and Claire. What were they? Because they were like government or something, weren't they?
So they're in the second game. They're in RE2, which that's my personal favorite game of
But
all
what
time.
were they? Were they like
Chris,
what were their what was their occupation?
So Kenneth or Leon, it was supposed. Worst first day imaginable. He was supposed to be a cop for the Raccoon City Police. Well, the same day he was supposed to be a cop. Raccoon City went to shit. It
Right,
went
that's
to
what I'm
zombie
saying.
Apocalypse.
We're following an FBI agent. So
Yeah.
look, it's not off the table that Leon or any of the characters who were in those older games that we haven't seen in a while are coming back. Like now, in what way we don't know. Like,
Yep.
but like, bro, what you know what like we're kind of in the trilogy of the new Capcom Resident Evil world, like Biohazard, Village, Requiem, right?
Yep.
You know what? Matter of fact, hold on a second. What does Requiem mean? What's the definition of that? We're gonna do some like conspiracy stuff real quick.
Yeah, dude. I'm curious because that's like a term you always hear about. I always thought it meant like rebirth, almost like another way of like saying reborn or rebirth or death or something.
Okay, a mass for the repose of souls of the dead.
Oh,
A state of rest. Repose is it's pretty much it's a ceremony in the Catholic Church of Mass. Musical composition setting parts of a requiem. So it's literally like she's trying to go find. She's kind of uncovering the truth about her mother who was murdered. But hey, like we're talking about dead souls, baby. What if?
yeah, dude.
What if we actually somehow get some information about do we have information on how those characters' ends were? Those older characters, how their story ended?
I don't know for sure. They're like their stories are completely ended because they could be brought back. I mean, I don't think, and I
It's
might
not
be wrong,
time
but I don't
specific,
think.
huh?
Yeah, I don't think any of the characters that we follow are like deceased. I think they're all still alive and kicking. Honestly,
Well, hopefully
all
they come
still,
back. 'Cause
like-
that'd be dope.
Yeah, everyone still exists within the universe. You just kind of leave off with them in their last respective story, but they're always there as certainly anyone could make a reappearance.
Yeah.
I feel like they purposely kind of leave that open ended to
Yeah.
you never know who might appear or who might be involved.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened with Chris and Biohazard.
Yep.
At the end of Biohazard, like Chris Redfield appeared to be involved, and then he was a bigger role in Village. So you never know who they might bring and who might be a part of the story, who might be involved. Leon started as a cop, but he's higher up in like some government organization, something or other.
Yep.
So you never know what he might be involved with and know about it and might appear or I think they purposely you kind of don't know who might wind up appearing, if anyone, or they don't have to. You never know.
True, that's a good point. Yeah.
100%. So.
All right, guys. Well, look, we're we have a lot to cover now, so we got a couple more. I think we just let's talk about the big next ones we have. We'll probably have to skip a couple here because we're getting to that hour over an hour marker. I want to get into some of these huge ones like Clockwork Revolution, 007, and Marvel. So the Clockwork was one that kind of caught, I think, a lot of people off guard just because it came first in the Xbox Direct. It just was playing, right? That was the first thing they showed? No, they showed Obsidian first, but then they showed Clockwork later, and it was a extremely long trailer, but looked extremely well made and designed with customized gun mechanics, customizable guns, lots of customizable world building. So yeah, what do you think about that, bro?
Dude, seriously, whenever they showcase that trailer and they showcase a bunch of cinematics and gameplay and cutscenes, and I was just like, man, Xbox has a lot of faith in this game. And this game had a teaser announced from last year, and it looked interesting. And I was like, okay, I can't wait to see more.
Yeah. And
we actually got to see more after a year from last year. And I was just like, cool, awesome. And we saw a bunch. We saw how your character is going to be created in the character creation, which, fun fact, the studio that's making it, I'm going to butcher this name, but In Exile Entertainment, they are making this game, and the most expensive asset from the game, and it also took the most time and the most work, was that cutscene. Well, I say cutscene, but that in-game like scene where it's where you create your character, and like there's
cool.
like this cool
dope.
like like really cool animatronic like setup, like mechanism, machinery.
Yep.
That is the most expensive like asset in the game.
Really?
According to the director, yes, it is the most expensive asset in the game because of how much time they put into it, how much work they put into like all
Right.
the little details from the contraction and whatnot. Just that asset. That's crazy to me. But it's so cool how you create your character and how it ties into the main game's like story where you're a wanted like fugitive. I think that's cool. And the core, like the crux of this game, for the most part, is that you're a time traveler. You change the reality of like the timeline that you're put in,
Which is super
and
dope
whatnot.
of
And
a concept.
Yeah. Like really dope concept, and like you are the decider of like the fate of this world and like this city that you're like being like put into play through and whatnot. So it's really cool. It's really cool like game design.
Does that mean like the story can change as you're making decisions and stuff throughout?
Yeah, completely
yeah,
changed.
that's cool. That's very interesting.
Like,
I like when games do that.
Oh, dude, same here, man. Same here. Like, you could honestly like help out, like, because I noticed this in the trailer, but there's like this statue that's in like this like this like structure of like many different monuments and buildings, and there's all these different flags waving around. Well, whenever you're changing the course of history and like time, the statue keeps changing to like different figures and different people, and like some of them were like more religious, another like figure was more like a Marxist, another one was more of a revolutionary, and I'm like, you get to like change the course of like the history of the city, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool, and it's very BioShocky. That's the
facts.
one game. That's the one like game influence that I kept seeing with a lot of these games, other than like all the Dark Souls like games that we saw throughout like the Summer Games Fest conference. There was so many of those, man. I was like, which game is which, but like with like BioShocky kind of looking games, you can always like make them unique to the point where they don't always come off as being BioShocky, but like they can stand on their own 2 feet basically. And that's what I hope for this game, man. That's what I really hope for this game, and Atomic Heart, which is another, like we said earlier, another BioShocky looking game. I hope they succeed. I hope they can stand on their 2 feet and like come out like guns blazing. So I'm all for that.
Yeah.
All for that, really.
My
truly.
thing is, man, and we'll talk about it kind of. I'm sure we'll talk about it briefly later in another episode, whatever. But like, even after watching the Xbox Direct or Showcase, whatever you want to say, it's like I just can't get over the sheer amount of design. Like they did something special, which is like they made me want to play games I've never heard of. Like Xbox released nothing but absolute heat almost that entire showcase, which was just like so surprising. Like I've never played Outer Worlds. I've never played which, by the way, we didn't add Outer Worlds to our list, but huge announcement, and that direct made me want to pick it up. Outer Worlds 2, I mean.
Yep.
And it's just like every game they announced, I almost want to play, except for maybe a Nemo. But yeah, like it's
the anime Pokemon game.
Yeah, I don't want to play that. But yeah, you're right, bro. Clockwork.
Yeah.
I hope they get their footing. Let's move on so we can wrap up here. But also, they released a new 007 called First Light, which is super cool. That's being published and developed by IO Interactive. And yeah, we get to another James Bond game. Who doesn't like that? That's going to be super cool. It's going to be super fun. I always have a complaint with these. Some of these games come out, and I had this. I don't even know how's best to put it, but I think the game doesn't look that good in terms of graphics. And like, I don't want to be one of those pretentious like graphics guys, but like, it's just like, bro, like the characters look like, who else did? I felt the same way about Spider-Man 2, the Spider-Man game. Did you like that game?
Yeah.
Looked horrible. Like it played amazing, but they do this weird thing where it's like they want to be AAA appearing, but like not have all that. It's like, bro, I would have been much more. It takes me out of it when the character looks like a Lego, but they're supposed to look like a regular human. It's like bring down that graphical fidelity and just let me play that fun game. Because Spider-Man was fun. When you're swinging and fighting, it's so fun. When you get up close in the conversation and it looks like they're walking milkshake, it's like, no, like I can't. I literally can't.
Yeah.
It takes me out of it. So 007 does look like that for me. I'm gonna pick it up because it's James Bond. So I'm gonna play it, and it's gonna be cool because who doesn't want to feel like James Bond for a little bit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and notoriously love Bond games, of course. Like
They're fun,
Yeah,
dude.
with GoldenEye.
GoldenEye's, I think everyone knows GoldenEye
Yeah.
from the N64 days. And I used to actually really love, I had to look it up so I would get my facts right, when they would not just release games based on a movie, but then they had like this little moment where they even had like Pierce Brosnan coming back, and they had like their own sequels as games, basically.
Yep.
Like Nightfire, for instance, back in 2002, Everything or Nothing in 2003. I thought those were really cool. Those games were a lot of fun. It was unique to be like introducing this own within the world, but as a video game. Like, you know, me as a younger lad, that kind of blew my mind a bit.
Yeah,
like,
it
I was
did.
like, whoa, this is so cool. Like, it's its own story. That's awesome. So I've always had fun with Bond games. I don't disagree with anything you said. You know, we'll see. I'm certainly intrigued, but am I going to get it day one? Doubt it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
That's a good way of putting it.
I'll be curious to hear what people say.
Same.
But
Same.
yeah, of course, like, who doesn't want to be James Bond at the end of the day?
Yeah, and I will say, speaking of games that like blew my mind, I used to have Casino Royale back on the PSP, and I remember, I literally remember playing that on the PSP at my grandma's house. Like when you said that, it hit me in my head, and I was like, it almost made me cry because I was like, yo, at my grandma's house in the summer when my dad was at work, she's retired. I'm like playing Casino Royale on the PSP in her garage. I'm like, dang, I forgot all about that. So
Yeah.
I might see if I can go find that game again and like play it just for the culture. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I definitely have some of that nostalgia from it. that
facts,
comes
bro.
back,
Facts.
seeing that.
Chandler, tell
Same
me about
here,
this
same
Marvel
here.
this Marvel game, bro. I'm ready to hear because I know you're gonna pick this one up, bro. I already know you. Like you can't tell me
Dude,
you're not.
I am, man. I am. Sorry, not to like go back. I know we're running out of.
You're good. You're good. Go ahead. What
you
got?
I just want to say, like, GoldenEye, one of those games that I always played on the 64. All right, back to Marvel, dude. So 100. Like, I just want to point that out. That was a game that me and my brothers always played because there was multiplayer and whatnot.
Okay,
so yeah. And other than like Star Fox,
Yeah.
so we always played that game.
You
bro.
said you and your brother played Golden Shower.
Oh my god!
I knew it. I called it.
Golden.
Oh, you said
Shower.
GoldenEye. GoldenEye. My bad.
GoldenEye. No, you're good.
It's like
you're
dumb,
good.
just dumb jokes this entire podcast. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, Chandler. Continue.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. But Marvel took on Fighting Souls, dude. When I saw this game, I knew exactly who was behind it. I knew exactly the developers that were actually making this game, and that is Arc Systems Works, and they are a fantastic company to choose from out of a plethora of other developers in Japan to make like a 2D like anime aesthetic, inspired game based off of like Marvel characters. Like that's like a fighter, and they did an incredible fighting game, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which is probably the best fighting game from Dragon Ball ever. I just want to point that out. It feels like you're playing the anime, honestly, and it's just
I've seen that gameplay and it looks crazy.
Dude, it is, and it plays crazy too. It plays so well.
Naruto
Like,
also has a similar aesthetic to their fighting games.
Yes,
and those look
100%.
insane.
Dude, 100%. With this game, it feels like Marvel was like, "Hey, we really like your work on Dragon Ball, but let's give you like a few like $100 million more for our game."
Is that how much it costs? You think?
I think
mean, I
it
guess
was
it's
more.
Marvel, but
Yeah, my theory is probably going to be like 100 mil. I think it was 100 mil because this is like a 2D fighter game. It might be like below 100 mil, but it's just like a 2D 4-player fighting game.
I didn't know they cost that much though for a 2D fighting game.
Dude, they do. I mean, it's all the people you got to hire, and it's like the hours, and the days, and the months you have to work on it, bro. So
That's
it's just
crazy.
one of those things, man. I don't know the exact budget, but my theory is about 80 to 100 mil. That's my theory. That's not an official release. Don't take my word for it.
You're also
Just
much more well trained in like video game. I'm like a movie budget guy. I'm like, I can guess this movie that, but you definitely like know video game budgets like that. All I know is that freaking Grand Theft Auto cost. I think it was like something like $2 billion.
$2 billion.
Around. So
Yep.
yeah, I didn't know that those cost that much. I didn't realize that fighting games are hundreds of millions. I would have guessed like I'll probably say under 10 million. So I'm very surprised by that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, they're expensive, bro, especially depending on the IP that you're using, because I know for Street Fighter 6, like, that game costs about $100 million because it's just the graphical. Yeah, it was expensive. It was very expensive. And you can tell by just looking at the graphics from the game. Like, this was a high-budgeted title using the RE engine. It was very,
the animations are always so clean, too. So I will give it, like, that probably takes so much time with the developers and animators to, like, make something so clean.
Yeah.
That's the thing about video games. Like, I think I always forget, like, how much work truly goes into them. Mm-hmm. Like, and I when I do think about it, I can't like even wrap my head around it. Like it's I'm like I don't even know, where do you start? I don't you know, like, it's fascinating, and I could certainly see why they are so expensive once you really break it down. But it's one of those, like, as long as you see the work in the final product, you know, the budget in the final product, like they can truly create something so amazing and beautiful looking. You know, then it's like worth it for sure.
Yeah,
it's just,
100%.
It's always just very fascinating to me. Like I
agree.
Seeing the behind the scenes of them making games and stuff.
You need to go. I know you weren't able to make it to that Xbox Direct, but you should go back and watch the Obsidian Direct. Because first of all, it's well made.
Really
they have an actor in it who plays the kind of the lead of the documentary. It's really funny, really well made documentary. But you should watch it, and I think it'll convince you to get the Outer Worlds 2 game, at least consider it. And then for 2, you're gonna watch it and be like, yo, the amount of detail that they put into this, crazy. But not to take away from Marvel Token, because you're right, Chandler, I didn't know that, and it does look freaking good.
Yeah, and it's a 4-player game. It's a 4-player 2D side.
You can tag in. I forgot about that. But eight player multiplayer online, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
That's
essentially
crazy.
Like it's like Super Smash almost, but like in the traditional style of like a Street Fighter or a Tekken or a Soul Calibur. Almost.
Damn, we gotta do a battle royale or something,
dude. We should. Like honestly,
I'm gonna watch me.
Dude, and it's Marvel. I guarantee you, we're all going to be fighting over Spider-Man.
I choose Black Panther.
I choose Spider-Man. I got the Spider-Man tat. I choose Spider-Man rights.
I choose Doctor Strange. He's cool. He's like a magician.
He is dope. He actually is dope. That's a good choice. If they had Doom in it, I'd probably get him. Imagine we just we should just get it and just play all wizards, bro.
Dude, we should. That'd be dope. I'd be up for that, man. I'd be up for that. So. Heck yeah. So
that's gonna be a cool one, man. I can't wait. That's something that. How much do you think something like that would cost, Chandler?
This game, well, from our from how the industry is right now, where it feels like we can't find that universal price point for any game. It either has to be $80. GTA 6 is probably going to be like $400,000 when it comes out. I'm just saying, like. I'm gonna be pre-ordering the $650,000 one. I'm just saying. I mean, it's covering gold and probably worth even more than that. I'm just saying. But I honestly, like, if I had to guess, I would say this game could be like $69.99. I think it's gonna be $69.99.
You think they're gonna charge full price? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we're going
up to that 70 mark.
We already know that.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, what?
We already know that the 70 mark is the new standard. $70.
Oh yeah. It definitely is. But like with like Nintendo right now with like their Mario Kart World and like other like franchises that they're going to be charging $80-$90 for. I mean, it could
80
change.
and 90. Yeah. Look.
That's insane.
I've already stated my opinion on that, but also like 90 is a lot of money. But okay.
It's almost 100.
Now really, I stated my opinion. I get like paid more, but like. For really Mario Kart World, we're charging $90 or $80 for that. Let's keep it $1, bro.
Yeah,
let's keep it $1. Like that's a $40 game.
$1.
Oh yeah, keep taking it literally. Yeah, let's keep it $1, bro. We're paying 50 cents for that game. You can get 4 quarters.
Like a penny.
Like
4 quarters all your hard work. Hope your studio does well. We're just saying.
And Nintendo got enough money from suing people for playing their game and streaming it and stuff.
Dude, they do.
Then like they don't need my $90 for Mario Kart World. Just for me to race and do the same things over and over again. Which I will do, but I won't spend $90 on it unless unless you guys want to play online with me. Unless that's the only thing. But I don't know if there's any other reason.
David, I thought you were gonna say something outrageous. But
I was. I'm not gonna lie, I was, and then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? This is gonna live on the internet forever. Maybe I should stop doing that.
Nah, you're
so
fine.
I took it back and then rechanged my
yourself.
sentence.
Be yourself, dog. But what's crazy about, not to get too off track, but the crazy thing about that Mario Kart World game is the fact that you have to do so much work or so much driving to get to the other course because it is a open world Mario Kart game.
Why'd you quote it?
Well, I say open world. It seems more, from what I have been told, it seems more like a zone open world game
also,
where you're in
like
different. Yeah, like who actually wants that? Because it kind of kills the idea of this being considered a open world game. It's not. It's a bigger. You're going to a bigger level from the previous level. You're going
I'm talking
to
about
bigger.
Why would you want an open world Mario Kart game at all?
I'm like, what's kind of the point of that? I don't understand.
Well, and the other thing too is the world that it's set in. It's pretty empty.
That's what I'm saying.
You'll see it's like you see a Goomba and that's it.
But
for another 5 miles.
They were like, yo, you can pull over here and you can go get a snack at this. You can pull in the restaurants and stuff, but it just populates inside your items. A snack. You go in there. You don't get out. Look, what would intrigue me is if you took a Super Mario game, and you combine that with Mario Kart, and then it's open world. Imagine that.
Yeah,
Imagine
that
this.
Absolutely.
That sounds awesome. But look, this is not Forza. I don't know how we got on Mario, but this is not Forza. I'm not sitting here customizing my cart and traveling across the world. That's not what this is. I'm Mario, nigga. I'm Luigi, bro. I'm driving a car and I'm just making noises and throwing items. That's what I am, bro. Let's keep it above, bro. I'm not. You know what I mean? But if you were to take Super Mario Odyssey and then give me carts, I think what would be awesome. This is my dream game from Nintendo. Okay, bro. Actually, imagine this, dog. This sounds insane. Okay, so
I'm already laughing.
You
dude.
choose a character.
I
You
can't
choose
wait.
a character. You take all of Nintendo's IPs. You choose a character. You take a massive open world, right? Massive open world. You can pick Zelda. You can pick Peach. You can pick Mario. You can pick Donkey Kong. What are the games? You can pick Kirby. You can pick any of these people, bro. And you can go in this world. The way you get around is through carts. And if you just decide you want to smack Donkey Kong with an item on the way, cool. Bam, Donkey Kong's off the map. Bye. You're out of here. Harambe, rest in peace, nigga. No, but you smack him off the map, bro.
Oh
smack
my
Donkey
God.
Kong off the map. But then on the way, you're like, you know what? I might just go visit Zelda, bro. So let me drive to Zelda real quick. But on the way, bro, there's this place called Mario Party Club. You pull in there, you can play Mario Party.
There's a
with the
song.
homies.
There's a fucking song, by the way. There's a Mario Party rap song. I'm gonna send it literally.
Put that in the game. Put that in the game.
Put that in the game.
Put the game. But then I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet, bro. So you gotta picture this, bro. It's like a little SUV whip, right? You got Mario in the front, and then you got Peach in the back, butt naked, just whipping it through the Mario world. Knock Donkey Kong off the map. You got your shorty in the back, and then you pull up in Vice City. I'm joking. It's
bro,
it's a collaboration between Rockstar, Nintendo. We're getting a Mario Grand Theft Auto. Let's go, baby.
Bro, I what's funny about your imagination from my imagination is yours is wild, David. Yours is fucking goofy as hell and shit, and mine is too. But I always have that other sense of my imagination where what if we can make this shit real? Where in this fucking open world game, Peach wants to divorce Mario and whatnot, and fucking just your reaction, dude. But
bro, that would be We need a. I want a Detroit Become Human featuring Mario. That's what I want.
Yes,
I want that level
dude.
I want that level of devastation in a Mario, because Mario's always happy, bro. But at the end of the day, bro, Mario, like, he don't ever go through nothing, bro. Can we make him a more dynamic character? Like, can we put some clickers in the game? I would love to see clickers inside of Mario Party. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. I like the idea. He's getting divorced in the beginning. Then he lives in like a shitty apartment. And he's like becoming an alcoholic.
He fucking lives with his brother Luigi in the fucking trailer park, dude. Like,
No, he lives with Luigi and Luigi's wife, and Luigi has to sit with him and be like, "Look, it's been 6 months. We need you to move out.
We need you to move
That's
out,
dark.
Mario."
That's
And
dark.
about your Yoshi has been shitting on the bed. I'm just saying, your fucking Yoshi.
Bro, that's so funny, dog. Let's make this game when we get our budget up. But look, I think that's
Dude,
the episode
let's-
where it's getting to that time now where we're like, okay, it's that time of night where we're just being idiots, and I think
Yeah,
that's a
we
good
getting kooky.
good place to
Idiots.
call it a wrap. Guys, we appreciate you. If you haven't seen any of our videos on the channel, we make episodes every week where we cover the latest game news. Also, there's some extra content on the channel I haven't posted in a while that I play video games, but I will be getting back on it soon as my life slows down. But we always appreciate you watching, and until next time, peace.